Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about what makes Windows so popular, what makes it so easy for a new user to pick up and run with, and how can Linux get to that point. And so I started thinking about, okay, how do I use Windows at work? I use Windows basically the same way I use Linux. But I'm coming at it from like a system administrator standpoint, right? So I've got Linux with its terminal, and I've got Windows with its PowerShell. And I thought a new user isn't going to be in PowerShell in Windows. Why would a new user be in the terminal in Linux, right? That comes further down the road, at least. When you're wanting to do something that you just can't get with the GUI. And I thought about it at work. An example would be, okay, in Intune, we were going to set up a OneDrive policy for known folder redirect, but in Intune, you've only got three options. You can back up the desktop, documents, and pictures, I believe. I'll have to check. The point being, you can only do three options if you want the graphical interface, right? If you wanted to do other folders like downloads, videos, pictures, all the other ones, you need to figure that out yourself because it's not in the graphical interface. So at work, I created a script that would back up, 5 or 6 different folders for OneDrive redirection. And I thought, how could I apply this to Linux? Well, in Linux, you can do the same thing. You can build scripts and then build a graphical interface and have those scripts run behind the scenes. So let me show you what we've got. So this is what I'm going to call the Linux IT Guys toolbox. You've got all of your applications that you can install. You can remove them as well. And then there's this administration tab where you can enable, disable Bluetooth. TLP, which is more for advanced users and for laptops. And PowerTop. You can also update your system. You can run Nala to rank your mirrors, so you're downloading from the best, fastest mirrors possible. Then we've got Stacer. And then the swap fix, which basically allows more system memory to be used before the swap partition is used. And I've also noticed there's tons of videos after you install Linux Mint, do these 10, 15, 20 steps, right? You don't have to do that anymore with this. You download this toolbox, you check what you want to install, you go to administrator. And I know you could say enable Bluetooth, disable Bluetooth. Can't you just go in the bottom right and click on this and enable, disable it? You could. This is meant more for those 20 steps after you install Linux Mint. You don't need to do that anymore. You come in here, you check what you need. You come in here if you want Bluetooth on or off, all in one go, right? So you check all the options that you want, you hit run, and that's it. Okay, and how do we get this script? So we're going to bring up our terminal. We're going to type git clone and then my GitHub repository, Linux Mint scripts, and then we're going to change directory into that folder. So I'm going to press enter on that. And now we're inside that new folder, so we're going to list ls. And you notice how the files are white in text. The text is white. What we're going to do now is do a chmod user executable ./star.star. The ./ is this current directory. The star.star is everything. Press enter on that, and then we'll do another list. You see how those are green now? That means they're executable. So when we go to run this main Python script, those scripts will be able to execute now. So it's going to do ./, type in a capital M for main, and then do tab, and it'll auto-populate main.py. The main file is the name of the file, and the py is it's a Python script. So when we press enter on that, that's going to get us this toolbox. And so what I'll need to do now is I'll just pull up another terminal just to show that we don't have this list of software. We don't have them yet. In this example, let's do htop. We don't have it. We could install it by using sudo apt install htop. We don't want to do that though, so I'll say neofetch. What about that one? We don't have that either. Okay. So just to show you as a demonstration, we don't have any of these programs yet. I've got Microsoft Edge, I believe, and Vivaldi, I think is how you say it, the web browser. I've got those two web browsers, and I've got OBS. Obviously, I'm recording this video on. But let's just start back at the top. Let's go get Bottles. And so Bottles is basically, for the Citrix folks out there, Bottles you can think of as a published application. Boxes you can think of as a published desktop. If you're not a Citrix person, you can think of Bottles will run Windows applications, to where Boxes is more like a virtual machine. Boxes will install an entire operating system that you can boot into and install things within. So Bottles, think application. Boxes, think desktops, full desktops. Microsoft Visual Studio Code. This is an IDE that Microsoft created a few years back. I don't know, it's probably been like 5 or 10 now. PyCharm is the Python IDE, and these are development tools. So to write code in, you would need this Visual Studio Code or PyCharm if you'd like. You can do the same thing in code, but some people started with PyCharm. They like it, so they're going to stick with it. Discord, of course, that's a communication app, mostly used for gaming. Thunderbird Mail, that's a email application. Slack, similar to Discord, but Slack is more for like business oriented. Brave Browser, you've seen millions of videos with me using that. I'm not going to run through the browsers. Multimedia, GIMP, that's like Photoshop. OBS Studio, that's my screen recorder that I'm using to make this video. Audacity, you can go in and fine tune the audio. Lutris allows for Windows games to be played on Linux. Steam has pretty much done the same thing now with the Steam Deck. They've got Proton, which is used to run Windows games. And then Glorious Eggroll has his own version of Proton, which is called Proton-G for Glorious Eggroll. But this Proton Up QT will go out and grab the latest and greatest version of that for you. HTOP, you can see your CPU, memory, all in one go. You can also kill processes with an HTOP, so think Task Manager. NeoFetch grabs a system snapshot in a nice graphical way. Gparted, you can partition your hard drive. QEMU, think virtual machines, VMware Player. Office Tools, LibreOffice. LibreOffice comes pre-installed on Linux Mint, and I also threw in OnlyOffice there. All right, so what we'll do is we'll just select a few options here, right? Let's grab Bottles, Boxes. I think I've already got Discord. We'll do Slack, Brave, and I'm just randomly selecting here just to give an example. We'll do HTOP, NeoFetch, and Only. Okay, and then under administration, let's say I've got Bluetooth enabled now, so I'll just go ahead and check disable, just for the purposes of this video, right? We can update our system. Something else I should mention is this script uses Nala instead of apt. I found it to be faster. You can come in here and check Nala to rank the mirrors, and I'll do that for demonstration purposes. Stacer, like HTOP is in the terminal, Stacer kind of gives you more of a GUI for that. And I've already done the swap fix, but after this runs, I can show you what swap fix does. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and hit run. We'll put in our password one time and just let it go. And just real quick, something that I didn't do. If I had, say, OBS Studio already installed and I checked it before I hit run, all it's going to do is say, okay, OBS Studio is already installed, and it'll just skip it. So I should have checked OBS just as an example, but I forgot to do that. Just wanted to let you know. Okay, so it finished installing the software we selected. What it's doing now is it's going out and finding the best Nala mirrors. So it's pinging them all and seeing which ping is the fastest from my device to the mirrors. So that's what you see here, the 586. Those are mirrors that it's ranking right now. So when this finishes, we'll be able to select the top 3 that we want to keep. And it's important here, I had some from like Iran and various other places in the world, so you want to kind of look at the URL and make sure that it's something you recognize. So .edu, I know that's coming from the United States. Mirrors, okay, .net, and then here's the Iran one. I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll say I want to keep 1. So on the left side, you've got the index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I want to select 1 for this one. I haven't seen this one yet, but I'll go ahead and do 2. We'll try it. You want to put a comma between these options here, and you want to do about 3 of them. So we got 1 and 2. I don't want 3. And then let's go with 4. So in my case, I'm going to do 1, 2, and 4. But again, see what your ping is to these mirrors first, and then adjust yours accordingly. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 4. Press enter on that. Are these mirrors okay? Confirm that. And I did select Stacer, so what it's doing now is it saved those mirrors in. Now it's going out and installing the Stacer application. Okay. And as you saw, I don't know how long that took, probably 2 or 3 minutes. But from a fresh install to now, I would be completely set up. I'm ready to go basically with all the applications that I would commonly use and the tweaks from the administration tab, right? So I don't know if you noticed this, but as that was running, now my Bluetooth is disabled, right? So it's not about, can't you do this manually by yourself? Yeah, you could, but this is all about selecting everything in one go, pressing one button, and you're done, right? Ease of use, just like what made Windows so easy for a new user to pick up and run with. It's basically what we're going for here. So I'm going to go ahead and quit out of that. You did like a system update or this swap fix, go ahead and give it a reboot. But since I didn't, I think we're okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go in here and make sure that it did what we asked it to do. So there's Lutris. There's GIMP. There's the Brave browser. Only Office. I already had Visual Studio Code. I've already got OBS. So yeah, you can see that it went in and did those things. So now if I were to open Stacer, this is one of the things that was under the administration tab. So this just gives you like a bird's eye view of your system, right? You got your CPU, your memory, and your disk space. If you've got any downloads in the background or uploads in the background, this would tell you about it. Got your host name, your kernel release, information about your CPU. And this is important. If your system's running slow, you could come in here and see, okay, what startup applications do I have running? And you could tweak those. Maybe something's in here that you might not need. So you come in here and take care of that. System cleaner. So if you've got some log files or stuff in the trash that's taking up a lot of space, you could come in here and get a bird's eye view of that and clean that up. Under the gear icon is where you've got your services, various different services that might be running. You can come in here and you can toggle those on and off. And you notice you've got two toggles. So one is going to persist when you first boot up your machine. And then the other one is going to be session based. So let's say you only wanted to disable Bluetooth during this current session. When you restart, you want it to come back on. You could toggle it off here. You have to put in your password, but you would toggle it off here, and then when you reboot, it's toggled on, so it would come back on when you reboot it. This shows your different processes. So once again, so I was saying HTOP. So I use the example HTOP, right? You could come in here and kill a service with F10. So you would just come down and you would, find the service that you wanted to kill, and you highlight it and press F10. In Stacer, you don't have to use the terminal. It gives you a GUI. So you'd come in here and find the process that you want to stop. You'd highlight it, and then you end process. Very similar to the task manager in Windows. Packages, basically if you wanted to uninstall a package, you could come in here and do it this way. Or you could use the utility to do that. So using this package to uninstall, or going to the remove tab and uninstalling from here, same thing. Let's see here. And then here you've got your resources. So the CPU threads that are being used, they're different colors. You can see that graphically. CPU load averages. So it just takes an average of the load over time. Disk read and write. Green is read, red is write. I want it to use RAM for 90%. That last 10% is going to be used for the swap. So you can see here, I haven't even used my swap. And then here's the network traffic. Not much going on. And you can see here, I'm barely using any space on my hard drive. I just installed Linux Mint, so that's probably why. Helpers has some networking information inside of it. And we'll go to Repository Manager. This has got all your repos inside of it. So basically, it's the same as going into Synaptic Package Manager. Put in your password. Going into Settings and Repos, and then Additional. So it'll be about the same as doing that. You'll see we've got Google there. Let's see here, Linux Chrome Deb. Linux Chrome Deb. So just basically showing you that it's the same as going into the software sources within Synaptic Package Manager. Just seems to be a little quicker to get to it, right? Because you've got everything right here on the left-hand side. And then under Settings, you can choose your language, you can set alerts, and you can auto start Stacer to run. And at the very bottom, you can provide feedback. So that's pretty cool. If you wanted to see what settings this swap fix actually adjusts, so if you do cat proc sys vm swappiness, with the swap fix, we're going to use 90% of our system memory before that last 10% is used on the swap partition. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, don't worry about it. I just wanted to explain what the swap fix does. Basically, this makes your system snappier, especially if your system only has like 4 or 8 gigs, you definitely want to use this swap fix. Modern systems probably won't ever notice it unless you're doing heavy workloads, but just wanted to explain that. If you don't see your application that you commonly use in this list, just drop a note comment section and I'll see if I can get it added. I did have a question about, can we make sure that flat paks are avoided at all costs? I'm not really going to do that. I'm going to keep it the way it is now. It'll use Nala unless that package isn't available in Nala. Then I'll use flat pack. In the case of Lutris, I've found that the flat pack version runs a lot better. So I've kept that as flat pack. So it's just going to depend on the application and my personal use with it. What I've had better luck with, I should say. And that's going to do it for today's video. Here are some more videos you may find helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. If you're new here, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.